Hey everybody. Today I'm talking about how our on-site audio setup has become out of date and how the rise of content creation is powering innovation. And as a podcast editor, it's really important to my clients that I'm able to stay on top of all of this so that I can recommend the best equipment for them when they have those types of questions. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jesse, and I'm a podcast editor, engineer, coach, and content creator. I make videos talking about stuff like editing, equipment, and generally sharing my experiences and knowledge in hopes that I can in some way help you grow or learn something new. For the returning viewers, welcome back. If any of you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. Now, let's get started with the story behind this video. A couple weeks ago, Tara and I were talking about doing some more videos, and one of the things we had talked about doing was a new brand video, because our current one, it's about 5 years old, and it's just time for a new one. This led me to look for our old setup for recording on-site audio. I opened up the case and it's just like I remembered. Our old Sennheiser wireless system, a couple of lav mics, and our original Rode Wireless Go setup. So let's take a quick trip to about 10 years ago. When we'd go on site to record videos, we needed a way to get that audio into our recorder, because we weren't going to record our audio straight to the camera. We just weren't. Back then, we really only had one option, a wireless system. There weren't Bluetooth or Wi-Fi options that were any good, so we had to invest in a decent system. In our case, that was the Sennheiser. I think it was an EW112 or something like that. These did serve us well, but in 2020, we were consulting with a client on a presentation type setup, and she just didn't have the budget for something like the Sennheisers. So we started looking into other options, and that's when I found the Rode Wireless Go. It had good reviews and it fit her budget, so we picked up one just to test it out to see if it was a good alternative. And it really was. No pairing, no searching for good frequencies. It just worked. Using Wi-Fi frequencies, though, it does pose a problem in congested areas. It's more prone to just interference because it's using the commonly used Wi-Fi frequency of 2.4 gigahertz. This wouldn't be my first choice for a convention, but it should suffice in an in-home setup. But even then, it could still be susceptible to that congestion or interference. That was the big sort of advantage of using the Sennheisers, because there just tends to be less congestion in those frequencies that they use. Fast forward to today, and Rode alone has a number of newer offerings for recording wireless audio. There are other companies, I know Zoom probably has some. We're seeing more and more growth in that space. But we ended up trading in the old Wireless Go towards the newer Rode Wireless Pro. I'll probably also trade in the Sennheiser kit once I've done some testing with the Wireless Pro, just to make sure that it's going to replace the Sennheiser across the board. What really sold me on the Wireless Pros was that it can record internally as well as sending the signal into the camera. This alone is a pretty big improvement because we can have the individual tracks while still having a mixed version on camera. On top of this, it's all done in 32-bit float. And for me, I feel like 32-bit float is overkill for most common recording scenarios, but it can be a lifesaver when we're doing a one-person band thing, or we're on location and we need to just get up and running quickly. And that can make it a challenge to get the level set perfectly. 32-bit float, just it's one less thing we have to worry about. A couple other nice touches Rode included are the ability to monitor with headphones. It has a gain assist and timecode sync. I've also seen mics with onboard recording, so there have been some improvements, not just in terms of recorders, but wireless recording in general since the old days. And a lot of this is being driven by the needs of content creators. And Rode, like Elgato, they seem to really be listening to what the content creators want and need. The other thing that I've seen over the last few years is like the inclusion of loopback in many of the newer audio interfaces. Routing audio out of your computer into streaming or conferencing, meeting type apps used to require a lot of complicated software. Well, maybe not a lot, but required some complicated settings or routing. But many interface manufacturers, they're including this type of functionality with their interfaces. Focusrite, Scarlett, and Vocaster, Motu's M series, Lewitt's Connect series, and all of the Rodecasters do this. And I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting or not even aware of. And speaking of Rode, they just released a video switcher that looks promising for those who use multicam setups for their streams. It's the first switcher that I've seen that seems to kind of prioritize audio rather than being kind of a second thought. I'll be doing a review of the Rode Wireless Pro in the next couple of months once I've gotten a chance to use it. And I'll also be demoing the new Waves plugin that came out last week to see if it's worth a review and recommendation. It looks promising based on the responses I've seen online, but I just need a little time to put it through its paces. So what about you? What changes have you seen over the past 4 or 5 years in this space? Is there anything new that interests you? Is there anything you'd like to see? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, you might like this playlist over here about other equipment that I've reviewed or talked about. And as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.